I accidentally revealed why I broke up with my ex. His girlfriend left him after that. I, 27 male, had a relationship with him. Let's call him Mikey, 26 male, around 5 years ago. Mikey and I met at college and started as friends, then turned into a couple. We lasted almost 2 years, but I broke up with him 3 months before reaching that date. By the way, this comes from Tonight Lost 57. And if you want to submit your old stories, go to r/OK Storytime subreddit. So, the summarized reason on why we broke up was because he didn't give me my place as his partner and prioritize time with any other person that wasn't me. I'm not saying like the he wasn't with me 24/7 kind of thing, but the we agreed to a date to hang out together and he canceled on me for the 8th consecutive time to hang out with his friends kind of thing. It wasn't the lack of love or cheating on behalf of no one. And I tried to break up with him thrice, with him begging for another chance, and each time with him doing absolutely nothing to change. So the 4th was definite one, and despite him asking to get back together, I stood my ground and ignored him for at least 6 months before talking to him again. By the time I talked to him again, I had already moved on. I'm not sure if he did too by that time, but I was clear in me not to have romantic feelings anymore, and that I was willing to be friends again because I missed him as he was my best friend previous to our relationship. I put some strong boundaries, like not trying to make a move on me ever again, and many others I don't find relevant for this post, and he seemed fine with it. Now, we are not the bestest of friends. We are just friendly to each other, but we're not awkward about not having the same level of friendship than before. Since we used to be more physically affectionate now we aren't. I dated some people, but I'm currently single, and he's gotten into a relationship a few weeks ago with Carly. We knew Carly way before being friends or getting together, and both me and Mikey loved her because she is a genuinely amazing girl. When they announced they were together, I was happy for them, but at the same time, I was low-key worried about her since apparently what broke my relationship with Mikey happened with his previous partners too, according to what he said to me himself. So I was a bit concerned that he would try and pull that same card with her, but ultimately decided to not intervene since his new relationship was not my business now.
Just enlightened. I like that. That's
yeah.
Sometimes you got to mind your business.
Because Mikey's your boy. If you heard something about Carly, I'd be like, yo, this is what I heard about Carly. But Carly's not your girl. Carly and you are not like super tight. So, but it does suck that you know. But if Carly, here we go. Carly comes to you. Hey, is there something I should be worried about? Boom.
There you go. Yeah, don't just do it unprompted. But if you're asked for the info, go ahead.
Well, I ended up unintentionally intervening. Kind of. We were all hanging out with friends 3 weeks ago when we started talking about relationships. And I commented how I was fine at the time being single and getting occasional matches on Tinder. I used to be very active on Tinder before, but now I slowed down a lot and I'm much happier being by myself. He said something like, haven't found someone to leech onto yet? I was a bit surprised by his comment because, first of all, it wasn't like him to say something like that. I thought someone else said it before realizing it was him after everyone turned to look at him as shocked as I was. And second of all, what the heck? Why does he suddenly have the audacity to say it as if I was always demanding his attention? I honestly ended up playing dumb and I tried to stay clueless as possible. What do you mean? I don't think he was trying to mock me because the entire time he had a dead serious expression like it seemed he actually believed I was the one being clingy. He responded, you know, man, like those times you got mad at me for going out with my friends and stuff like that when I tried to act nonchalant and said, oh yeah, I remember, yeah, I was pretty mad back then. I was expecting that we could go on our date as promised, but you canceled again to go out with friends without telling me in time. But it wasn't even leeching, and it happened a long time ago. Why are you bringing it up now in front of everyone?
Yeah, that was a weird power play. That's going to get Uno reverse card back at you.
Yeah, I recently had a conflict with someone, and it didn't go well, and it was in front of someone else, and I just didn't know what to do with myself.
Oof. You got to play
and it was all my fault.
The role of peace. Oh, so it was just like you misspoke, essentially?
Basically.
Oof, yeah, I hate when that happens. That's happened to me.
And it just didn't go the way I planned.
Yeah. No, that's crazy, especially when it's like, given the context is like he's going to hang out with his friends, and it's like, well, we had a date, but couldn't you at least be like, yeah, do you want to come hang out with my friends too?
Yeah.
Like, you just completely ditched your partner multiple times over and over again.
Carly looked at him a bit confused, like expecting him to clarify what I meant, and he said, well, as I said before, I wasn't gonna choose between my friends and my boyfriend. Both were important to me, So maybe it's good you stay single for a while. The world doesn't spin around you, you know. Carly seemed a bit shocked by his response, which I understand since Mikey is usually a really gentle and loving guy as a partner and as a pretender, and tends to be extremely romantic at first before pulling out. So the sudden accusation towards me seemed very out of character. I replied, well, it's obvious the world doesn't spin around me, but we were planning to get married. Wasn't it a good enough motive to prioritize me a little bit more? Because I did prioritize you, and you even promised me to change every time I tried to break up with you. So, of course, you knew you had to prioritize me. You just didn't want to. Mikey seemed like he wanted to argue more, and I stared at him in silence waiting for his reply. But he kept quiet instead and didn't say anything while he kept sulking the rest of the hangout. My friends and I moved on from the awkward moment, but Carly and Mikey obviously didn't. Carly looked very conflicted and deep in her thoughts after that. We all eventually left to our homes and nothing eventful happened until this morning. I must remind you, 3 weeks have passed and I kind of forgot about the small argument I had with Mikey during that hangout, especially because we tend to go out with our friends almost daily. But around 3 days ago, Carly stopped showing up and Mikey excused her saying she was feeling under the weather and that's why she wasn't coming. Then yesterday, Carly suddenly left the group chat without a word. We were all confused and a bit worried, but she sent a DM to everyone assuring she was fine and that she wasn't mad with us or any dangerous situation, which calmed us down a lot. But unlike the messages she sent to the rest of us, my friends, Carly sent me a longer and, to tell the truth, somewhat sad one. She first started the explanation she sent to everyone that she was fine and then proceeded to tell me that after hearing what I said about Mikey about a relationship, she started having her doubts because she had a really similar experience to what I was describing in a previous relationship, but with the much more heavier stuff going on that I won't detail here. But it was a very emotional, harmful, and draining relationship, and she didn't like how he responded to me when I argued that he should have prioritized me much more than he had done. So I think Mikey probably yelled or like had like a kind of vibe.
I think it would be while sitting next to your partner going like, yeah, I told you, person who I was considering marrying, I won't be made to choose between you and my friends. And then she's probably there like, but you would maybe choose me over your friends if we were going to get married, right? Like, what? Just a weird thing to say. It's just I don't know what he was on, man.
She feared he would do the same to her, so before taking any decision, she sat him down and asked him about his priorities in life. And yeah, she found out that while he was eager to compromise like he did when we were a couple, he pretty much didn't want to prioritize her enough and excused himself on the fact that he was an emotionally invasive type and has always been, basically implying he was like that and he probably wouldn't change. She broke up with him and she was still pretty sad. She told me she wasn't sure if it was the best decision since Mikey was a wonderful guy, but the thought of him doing the same to her once again gave her so much anxiety she had to get out as speedy as possible. She asked me not to reply, but she appreciated me and thanked me for everything. We weren't really close friends, but we got along really great. I didn't reply like she asked, but left a hugging emoji just to let her know I read it. A whole different story can be said about Mikey though. He is devastated and doesn't seem to understand why she left him, and is seriously thinking of asking her for another chance, even when she denied it when she broke up with him in person.
Oh, wait a minute. Is Mikey not being emotionally evasive right now? Ooh. Oh, what is that?
I feel like Mikey, there's a checkbox on Mikey's list, and that's a partner. And once that's good, he's like, I don't have to worry about finding anyone else. I can just go out, do my own thing, hang out. But when that box is not checked, inside, little hamsters going crazy.
Yeah, I don't know what the mental of that is like, wait a minute, I don't have a partner to neglect anymore. But who am I gonna neglect while I choose to hang out with my friends instead?
Yeah. I had to give him a mental smack by scolding him and telling him that he should put himself together and stop being mediocre in his relationships, because the only reason everyone leaves him is because he doesn't put any effort into his relationships. He got mad and said I had no business in his relationships and that I didn't have to say unnecessary stuff to his girlfriend. Well, now ex, lol, because I put her against him and Now she thought he didn't love her, which is not what she said or thought at all. I kind of chuckled because of how ridiculous he was being and said, all right, bro, whatever, and left. Thinking about it, maybe I was a knucklehead telling him all that stuff now, and I should have been gentler about it since he is having a breakup. I don't blame myself for telling him his truths in front of his girlfriend because he brought it up first, but maybe I could have handled it better and changed the topic since the beginning. I don't know. I'm confused and part of me feels guilty since a relationship ended because of what I said. Am I the a-hole? I don't think you're like the a-hole at all.
I mean, if you had brought it up first at that little gathering, like he literally like took a shot at you and then you were just like, defense, deflect. Yeah, here's reality. Would you like to reply to that? And then he did. And you again were like, well, sidestep, that's not real. Here's what really happened. And then he literally was, he dug his own grave there. So I don't know. You're not at fault there at all.
It's not your fault. Not your fault. Guys, what do you think? But I'm going to get back into this update now. I'm updating at this hour of the morning because I stayed up all night talking through the phone with Mikey and we had a productive conversation. So it turns out he found my post and almost since the day I made it, LOL. I thought of the possibility since he also uses Reddit, but I wasn't too worried even if he saw it because if he saw it from the perspective of strangers, maybe he would realize how foolish he looked. And it worked like a charm because he did get too self-aware of how he was acting. He stopped talking to me for a while after our last fight, but honestly, I was a bit too dumb with him to care. I was like, if this is how our friendship ends, then this is gonna be on him because I didn't do anything wrong. Honestly, I'm a bit too prideful, especially when I didn't even do the first attack. So I mentally refused to apologize to him since he was the one responsible for messing up his relationships. Well, last night he texted me the link to my post saying, you didn't have to describe me like that. I asked him, did I lie? And he didn't reply for a while, but called me a few minutes later and we spent the night talking about the issue. So, well, he told me after Carly broke up with him, she tried giving him another chance because, like I said, he was a really sweet guy and she really liked him. He didn't want to try it again, too, but apparently he said something about me that really annoyed her. He didn't want to tell me what it was. I think what he said was to mock me because he said I would get mad if I knew, which already got me really irritated, but I didn't want to make a fuss because I still wanted to hear what happened.
So let me get this straight. You get broken up with by your girlfriend because you said some out-of-pocket crap about OP. You manage to get back together with her. She gives you another chance. Then you say more out-of-pocket crap about OP, your ex, and she leaves you again.
Yeah.
You're a fool, my guy.
I didn't elaborate in my previous post, but even though we weren't close, Carly said to me and also Mikey that she appreciated me for a few favors I did when she needed them. I did tell her at times she didn't need to compensate me and just return the favors when I needed them, and she did. So even if we didn't talk too much, we still got along really well and would consider each other good friends. So when he said that she got angry with him, not in an aggressive way because she is not like that, but she got cold with him, and after avoiding him like the plague for some time, she broke up with him. She said she didn't like the fact he wouldn't put his crap together and that he mocked me even when he was the one starting the petty argument. And I just defended myself. I'm trying to he doesn't seem like a bad guy. He just doesn't, it's just not clicking with him.
He just didn't know how to not run his mouth from the sound of things.
Yeah.
He's just a very me, all about me kind of person.
And you can't tell him that he's wrong.
Any person who's like, I need a partner and I need, I want you to be with me and you can't leave me and blah, blah, blah. And then by the way, going to be completely emotionally avoidant. And I'm always, if it comes down to, we have a date night, but my buddy's like, yo, come over. We're going to watch Lord of the Rings for the 17th time. I'm going to go hang out with them. And it's like, and by the way, my ex is smelly and I hate them. It's like, dude, stop it.
Yeah.
You're just motor mouthing your way into the ground.
She has been rejecting his calls and blocked him. And when he cooled down from the breakup, he started reflecting on his behavior. He apologized to me and acknowledged that he was being a butt. Like I said at the start of the update, Mikey found my post, which only made him more resentful towards me. When he read it, he started feeling self-conscious about his attitude, but was in denial. He didn't tell anyone because that would mean he would have to show them the post and potentially have them agree with me. So basically, he knew that if another friends saw the post, they would 100% disagree with Mikey, and that would either hurt his pride or make him angrier. He didn't want to talk to me, but after Carly broke up with him, he started to realize that the argument in the first place was very dumb, especially over something that we both had already moved on from a long time ago. He admitted that he felt a bit hurt when we first talked since our breakup because I moved on from him way too fast. He was kind of expecting to get back together after giving each other a break, lol, for a few months. But when I came back to talk to him again, I was dating another guy, so his hopes were shattered.
That guy's just toxic. That's toxic. That's a toxic assumption.
He might be doing word jujitsu to get back with you. Or word salsa. He's trying to accept that we weren't meant to be even when he said he was fine with it. And it hurt even more because I was very firm when I told him I wasn't interested in him romantically anymore. I honestly didn't know about it. And while it was not my intention, and maybe it did hurt that I even resumed contact with him. But when I said I missed him as a friend, I meant it. Outside of those things, he's still been an amazing friend. He was with me when I lost both my parents in an accident. We graduated together, and he even took me into his home when I felt alone, even letting me bring my dogs with me to play with his dogs. I felt bad because all that time I thought about my own feelings, but didn't think that coming back to resume our friendship would hurt him. He doesn't have romantic feelings for me now, but he was still salty about it in his own words, by the way. When we ended up talking about our unrelated stuff, when we cut the call after he realized he was getting late to work, so I would say that we ended the call on good terms. I think we are back to being friends now, but I won't push or invite him directly to spend time with me. I'll only do it when we are with our friend group to make it less awkward. I feel relieved that we have talked things out, and thank goodness, because I miss messing around with him. But again, I'll take things easy. One of our friends even jumped into my DMs asking if we made up after Mikey sent something to the friend chat, and I interacted with it after ignoring each other during our argument. When I said yes, he sent a lot of happy cat stickers. I think he's glad, lol. And guys, you can be glad that after this story, there's a place for you, a place for your ear holes, and that is where to go to?
iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. I mean, even YouTube has a podcast section you can find us on. Anywhere you listen to podcasts, just search OK Storytime, and you can listen to over 1,200 hours worth of stories.
Boom. Do you think this is a friendship that should have got back together?
It doesn't sound like Mikey's going to actually level it out. Like, it sounds like, because again, what do we know about Mikey? Mikey talks, he says, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, and then does not do that. In fact, does the opposite of that.
Yeah.
So Mikey could be like, I've moved on, everything's fine. But has he moved on?
If Mikey actually changes from this and actually has some self-realization, I'm down for it. But if not,
people can change.
Anyways, in case of any of the people who gave their opinion on my previous post or reading this, thank you for validating my feelings. I felt at some point I was being unreasonable even when I knew I wasn't. I just needed some confirmation since our friends didn't want to take sides, so nobody other than Carly reassured me about what happened. I'm seeing you, Mikey. Okay. They can see through the fourth wall. Guys, that's the end of that story. That kind of ended on a weird note.
Yeah, that was kind of, I'm not sure if that was ominous or if it was like, I'm seeing you, Mikey, like we're seeing each other. I don't think so. That I would definitely not recommend again.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know.
Anyways, OP, you did the Lord's work right there, trying to get someone to realize their flaws. It's now on them, and you don't have to worry about that anymore. You've done your part.